Good morning, happy Monday. I hope everyone had a super awesome weekend. Today I just want to talk about the stigma that there is still in the year 2026 about unwanted emotions, triggers, and sabotaging patterns. I have noticed that as soon as you mention these three words, what trigger do you suffer with? Or what an unwanted emotion do you experience? Or what self-sabotaging pattern do you go to? I have noticed with a lot of people, including myself, my husband, my friends, the people I work with, that the body automatically stiffens up. And it's like, oh no, I definitely don't have a trigger. I definitely don't have a sabotaging pattern. I definitely don't have an unwanted emotion. It's like when we mention these words, our body gets defensive. And it's a stigma. And the reason why it's a stigma is because for many generations, we were taught to either keep things to ourselves or don't worry about it, it will heal itself. And we were told all of these different things that our unwanted emotion, our triggers, and our self-sabotaging patterns are either normal, or either they'll go away, or it's okay. And that is why as soon as we mention these three words, our body goes on defense mode. It's like, oh, no, I don't have a trigger or unwanted emotion or self-sabotaging pattern. So this is something that we have been accustomed to, and we've normalized it. We've normalized it that we're not meant to have these things. It's a stigma. And I just want to break this stigma. I just want to break that when we have a trigger, it's okay to say, yes, I have a trigger. Hey, good morning. And that's part of self-awareness and acceptance and growth, right? That's how we grow, when we understand that we have a certain trigger that affects us, when we have a certain unwanted emotion that affects us, when we have a certain sabotaging pattern that we keep going to, and that is obviously affecting our life, our family life, our professional life, and our personal life in all aspects. So, for example, 10 years ago, my unwanted emotion was resentment. It was resentment. I held so much resentment of past boyfriends, past experiences with friends, past things that happened with my parents, past things that happened with my brothers. I held on so much resentment that emotion, that unwanted emotion, was just manifesting itself in my life. And I didn't know. And then my trigger was pride and anger, and I was like very loud. But I know Australians and even Mediterranean people were very much like into your face. So I just said, oh, it's just the way I am. I'm just that kind of person. That's the way I speak. That's the way I am. And I wish that somebody back then, from the age of 24 and younger, I wish somebody came up to me and said, hey, it's okay that you're experiencing this resentment. It's okay that you are experiencing this trigger of anger and confrontation. It's okay. But I was taught that it wasn't okay. That these are just normal feelings. Resentment's a normal feeling. This anger is normal. The way you go and you confront people is normal. Until then, at the age of 24, I noticed it wasn't normal. And then from 24 to 34, there was a long growth spurt. But this stigma that triggers unwanted emotions and self-sabotaging patterns, we need to break it. We need to be okay. We need to be okay with having a trigger, with having an unwanted emotion, with having a self-sabotaging pattern. Now, I got over my self-sabotaging pattern was drinking and partying. I used to love it. I used to love it. I was a functional alcoholic, and I used to go to parties every weekend. I wouldn't come home like after 4 days. And I functioned because I still went to work, I still made money. And I thought, once again, it was the way it was. Then at the age of 24, I just realized it's not the way it's meant to be. So I started to break this sabotaging pattern. It didn't just happen overnight. It just didn't happen overnight. But I started to break the patterns. But if I wasn't self-aware, if I didn't know and I didn't accept the sabotaging pattern, then I'd probably still be in the exact same loop that I was 10 years ago. Then, just as the devil does, and just as the anxiety and the depression, it comes into our head, just recently, November, right? So like, what? 4 months ago. I have a pool in my complex. It's this massive, massive pool, and the lights go on at night. And when I'd look at this pool, I would say, oh my gosh, I can imagine going down there with a cigarette in my hand, a bottle of wine, enjoying that like feeling of feeling cool, and and this unwanted emotion, this unwanted thought just kept on coming in my head. And I was just like, why? Then I just said, Satan, get back. Not today, honey, not today. So if I didn't face that unwanted thought, that unwanted emotion in my head, then I'd just be saying, no, it's okay, normalizing it. But no, it's not okay. I do not have a soul of wanting to be that kind of person in the pool. I'd rather look at that pool and say, hey, I'd rather go do some breath work than saying I'd rather go smoke a cigarette and have a bottle of wine, So, having an unwanted emotion, a trigger, and a self-sabotaging pattern is a-okay. It's okay. Don't make this a stigma because of what society says. Because you are meant to grow and get out of those unwanted emotions and triggers. And we all have our own dirty feet. All of us. And it's okay. What is not okay is to stay with those dirty feet. That's not okay. That's not okay if I still looked at my pool and said, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette and drink a bottle of wine. No. So obviously, with all of the psychology studies I did, the neuroscience studies I did, I put those to work, but I am also a woman of faith. I met God 10 years ago. It's been a rough, bumpy road with God and I, but I am a Jesus-loving woman. And I did all the psychology and all the neuroscience tricks, and I resetted my nervous system, and I brain hacked my own brain, but nothing took away that thought besides Jesus. And I prayed earnestly. I said, God, I'm a woman of faith. I want to be a mother. I don't want to be a mother that looks at a pool and says, I'm going to go smoke a cigarette and drink a bottle of wine. That wasn't me. That's not who I want to be. So I broke it. I broke that sabotaging thought and that unwanted emotion through prayer. I prayed to God, and I said, take it away. Now, there are 2 ways we can go with our dirty feet. Well, actually, there are 3 ways, excuse me. Which society does. And the 3 ways is, we ignore our dirty feet. We ignore them. We pretend that unwanted emotion, that trigger, that self-sabotaging pattern is not there. We just, put the scales on or the blinkers on and we say it's not there. We normalize it. We say, oh, Shana thinks like that, so it's okay. Oh, my spouse thinks like that, it's okay. Or my mates, they all think like that. It's okay, it's normal. And number 3, we wash ourselves. And we try to deal with everything ourselves. When I had those thoughts, the first thing I did was I took it to Jesus And then the second thing I did was I took it to my husband. And I said, I am suffering with these thoughts. I am suffering that every time I look at this pool, this like massive pool with these cool lights, I look at it and I say, how I wish I can go down with a bottle of wine and smoke a cigarette. And I admitted it. I took it to God, I took it to my husband. So I didn't try to wash my own self. Now, what are the solutions of having our dirty feet? What are the solutions? The solutions are not to ignore it, are not to normalize it, and are not to wash ourselves. And I know that we live in a world nowadays where we are the solutions to our problems. We can solve the problems that we got ourselves into. And I know it is a very common thing, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe in and not, but it's very hard to get yourself out of a situation that you put yourself into. And it's okay to understand that situation. It's okay to understand that we are not all-knowing. We are not God. We are not the creators of the universe. We do not heal. So it's okay to know that. And when we do understand that and we can become humble, our problems, when we take them to God, they do get healed. So, what do we do with our dirty feet? In John chapter 13, verse 12, Jesus washes the feet of his disciples. Now, Jesus is a king. He's the Messiah. Everybody knew he was the Messiah. He was healing the sick. And in John chapter 13, verse 12, Jesus washes the disciples' feet and he says, "Do you understand what I have done for you?" He asked the disciples. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you." So, after we take our unwanted emotion, our self-sabotaging pattern, and our triggers to God, and we ask him, God, wash our feet, wash my feet. Wash away this pain that I have. Wash away this anxiety, this depression. Wash away these thoughts that I have been brought up with, that have been instilled in my nervous system. Wash away that when I get these thoughts that, that the devil puts into my head, wash them away, Lord. Wash them away. After we take it to Jesus, Jesus says, do what I have done to you, to do to others. So then we can open up our hearts and help people. So we can learn how to be humble, how to forgive, how to love, how to truly be a servant of other people and wash other people's feet. We're not here to be dominant people and say, I have all the answers, I know, this is my way, or it's the highway. It's not. It's not. We're meant to see our triggers, our emotions, our sabotaging patterns. We're not meant to normalize them. We're not meant to ignore them. And we're not meant to deal with the situation alone. Jesus says, cast your anxieties onto me. My yoke is light. Share my yoke. And I tell you what, 10 years ago I met God on a mountain in Nepal. And my life completely changed. I used to party all the time. I wouldn't come home for days. I worked in sales, so the money was coming in, and it was just so exciting to wear the high heels, the cool tops and tight dresses and the lunches, and not go back to work because I was doing a sales deal. And life was good, but I was just comfortable. And I knew it wasn't good, but because I wasn't listening to God's voice who was telling me, Shana, it's time to wake up. Until one day I was hiking in Nepal for 14 days and I couldn't deny God's voice. And then since then, I have been on a journey to face unwanted triggers, unwanted emotions, and self-sabotaging patterns. And then once I managed to do the psychology studies, the neuroscience studies, the Bible studies, and I got all the studies in different modalities, I am here today. My feet had to be washed, and they still need to be washed. It doesn't mean because I'm a coach that my feet don't get dirty. But I'm here in the humble truth that yes, it's okay. And I'm not letting society's stigma say that triggers, unwanted emotions, and self-sabotaging patterns are okay. Or if they're not okay, they don't exist. Because they exist. And if you do receive that immediate defensiveness, hey, you're very proudful. You're like, oh no, I'm not. It's okay. It's okay. Sit with yourself and sit with God. Alrighty. So, have a super blessed day.